Mm, 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 mm. All right, party people. Yeah, I'm on a little bit early tonight. I know. Oh, slid on up in here early tonight. Let's see what YouTube do tonight. Since last time they didn't want to give a brother no love and not send out my notifications. So look like this time they did. So we good. We good. What up, man? Yeah. I was able to get on a little bit early tonight. Everything sort of shut down for me, so I figured I said let me just go and hop on. Plus, I got the wife will be done probably around 9 o'clock, so I said I need to go pick her up and everything. So figured I hop on here and kick it with y'all early and everything. Um, and see what y'all doing because I guess some people, one of my friends, she said she be going to bed early at 9 because she gets up so early in the morning. So I figured I hop on also a little bit earlier for her. There she is, Tracy. Yeah, she be going to bed early, be getting up at 3 in the morning, going to work out and everything. She she need to have a notary bodyguard business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got my tea going, all of that stuff. Yeah. We're gonna talk about being the perfect notary. It reminds me of that song, Looking for the Perfect Beat. Looking for the Perfect Beat. That old song back in the day. I wish I could play it on here, but YouTube will ping me and all that good stuff. So make sure y'all hit the like button and share it on your social media. Let people know that we here and all that good stuff and everything. So we're not gonna be up here too long, but we got to talk about this thing of being the perfect notary. And a lot of people are really big into trying to be perfect with this business. And in my opinion, this business isn't about being perfect, it's about doing things correctly. And if you don't understand how to do things correctly, perfection doesn't matter. Okay. And we're going to cover the differences between perfection and what's going on, Frank, and doing things correctly. So you know me, I like to use my AI tools and all that good stuff. But before we get to that, want to play two clips for you from Instagram, and I want you to maybe three, yeah, maybe three, and give me your thoughts on these clips here. These are from Instagram. Oops, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to include my audio. I always forget that. So y'all can hear the audio. And as always, just let me know if you can't hear the audio and stuff. So, all right. So this first one's going to be for Mark Cuban talking about how he doesn't take risk and he comes prepared. Okay. All right.
Taker.
Okay.
Like I come in prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Knight, the old school coach of Indiana, used to have this saying that he'd talk about. He goes, "Everybody's got the will to win, but it's only those with the will to prepare that win." And that's the way I approach business. Mm-hmm. Business is the ultimate sport. You compete against everybody, and those competitive juice takes over. So I always look at business as the ultimate sport, but you got to be prepared. Believe it or not, I'm not a big risk taker.
Okay.
Like I come in prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Knight, the old school coach of Indiana, used to have this saying that he'd talk about. He goes, "Everybody's got the will to win, but it's only those with the will to prepare that win." And that's the way I approach business. Mm-hmm. Business is the ultimate sport. You compete against everybody, and those competitive juice takes over. So I always look at business as the ultimate sport, but you got to be prepared. Believe it
What are your thoughts about that? How do you, because I know, and see, this is where people say, well, that's why you got to take training, Griff. But is the training you're taking preparing you for your business? because a lot of y'all take training, but you're not really prepared when you get out there, because whatever you took to help prepare you, when you get out there, if you're like, whoa, okay, this is too much, that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be prepared. A lot of people are all with this fake it till you make it. I'm telling you, this is not the business to do that. And you hear people out here bragging about, yeah, I faked it till I made it. Did you make it? Or are you still faking it? Because some people are still out here faking it and haven't nowhere near made it. In their mind, they think they've made it. But they probably still are faking the funk out there, as I like to call it. You know, so you gotta be you gotta be a little careful about that. All right, so let's listen to Miss Obama here.
Of life is just ordinary. You know, you got to learn how to be happy alone. You got to be happy a little bored. You got to be happy when things are hard. You got to learn how to be satisfied when you failed and things don't go your way, because all of that keeps you getting up. But I think there are a lot of young people who are searching for this impossible feeling of continuous happiness. Most of life is just ordinary. You know, you got to learn how to be happy alone. You got to be happy a little bored. You got to be happy when things are hard. You got to learn how to be satisfied when you failed and things don't go your way, because all of that keeps you getting up. But I think there are a lot of young people who are searching for this impossible feeling of continuous happiness.
What are your thoughts about that? Because that's what I feel a part that's in what's going on, Natural Jesse. Good to see you. That's what I feel is going on a little bit in the notary business. Is this, we got to have this constant euphoria of we're always doing something positive. We're always happy with the notary business. We're always getting paid. We're never getting lowball orders. We're never getting this. We're always getting the maximum amount. And then the vast majority of notaries are not getting this so-called maximum amount of money, and then you get sad. And especially after you done spent a grip to pay. And you hear the slang term grip, that means you paid a lot of money. You paid a lot of money to get trained to do something, and you're not actually able to hit those goals. And you start feeling sad about that. But yet you're doing things and you're making money. You're just not making the money that they said you could make or you're supposed to make. And you're like, well, I'm not getting that dopamine rush. I'm not getting that euphoria. That's where the problem comes in there for some folk. You see what I'm saying? So let's listen to this level. This is a little bit longer one, but it talks about people in focus. Okay? Listen to this one.
Can you walk us through what a day might look like for somebody who is going through their day and they may not realize they have ADHD?
I will say it really is on a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'll use myself as an example. I have trouble set shifting.
What's that?
So going from one task where you're into it, and then you got to stop and go do something else.
Oh my God, I say this to my team all the time. I'm like, if we are going to do a production day, I will tape for 9 hours straight. But the second you put me in a meeting and I have to look at copy, I can't go back to taping.
That's right. So someone who doesn't have trouble with that can like work and then, oh, there's a meeting. Okay, I'll stop, pick up, go to this meeting. Okay, that meeting's over. Okay, go back and jump right back in. No. Someone with ADHD, one misconception is you can't focus at all. And it's not only about focusing, because people with ADHD can hyperfocus on things that they're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stimulation issue. That means that the ADHD brain needs stimulation to stay engaged in something.
Okay.
So it has to be something that commands your attention and keeps your attention. As soon as there's boredom involved, then you're gone.
So your brain needs stimulation to pay attention if you're somebody that truly struggles with this issue of ADHD. And so I'm thinking about the example that absolutely all of us can relate to, where you have somebody in your life who can literally rot away in front of a video game for 2 days. And you walk into the room and they don't even break their stare. They're so hyper-focused. But then getting them to put their dirty clothes in the laundry basket or remember to do the homework, we presume that the person doesn't care or that they're rude or that they're aloof. And what you're saying is, no. The ADHD brain really requires some form of stimulation. Is that where the dopamine comes in?
That's where the dopamine comes in and the whole reward circuit. So
Okay.
because of the lower levels of dopamine, then you can struggle on staying engaged and paying attention to things that don't interest you. And, the thing you were talking about with the leaving stuff in the middle of the floor and making it look like they're just a jerk, they don't care, is why people with ADHD can have relationship problems, a lot of relationship problems, because the non-ADHD person can feel like the person doesn't care. It's like, you don't see this tennis shoe in the middle of the floor. You just stepped over it. How are you missing that? Do you not care about our house looking good? But it's not that they don't care. It's just not on their radar.
Now that's a good one there. That one there, that's a good one right there. That's a really, really, really good one. What are your thoughts about that, y'all? I trim my beard up and still got little hairs keep popping in my mouth. What are y'all thoughts about that? Because I think that's why some people struggle with this notary business. I'm not saying they're ADHD, but the lack of real stimuli that comes from sitting there watching somebody do what they're doing, meaning sign a document, it's not stimulating enough. So then that's where they need, hey, I'm your mentor, I'm your coach, I'm your trainer. That's where they decide I'm gonna be a TMC, because that gives them the stimulation, because now they get to be in front of people, they get to get praise and adulation and all kind of kudos and pats on the back from somebody that doesn't know them. And they're like, well, this is going to help me out. So thank you very much. And people get off on that. That's why I say some people in this business, they get in this business and it's a way to help them with their own personal self-esteem issues. Because if they was in other areas of life, or because of the other areas of life that did not necessarily give them recognition for their accomplishments, then you can come into the notary business and, hey, you're a preferred notary. You are our number one notary. You've made $10,000 and you're being interviewed. You made $10,000 and you're being asked to come across the NNA stage, and you're a notary of the year, and you're a notary of the week, and you're a notary of the second. And all of that pumps people up, and that gives people a dopamine rush. But for the rest of y'all who aren't on that level, the day-to-day grind of this business is actually boring. And if you can't find something to help stimulate you while you're doing the boring act, you're going to have problems with this business. You see what I'm saying? But maybe the reality is that it's not for them. That could be the case. That could be the case. And this is why I say how you market the business determines how people come into the business. So you come into the business, you don't take any time out to really understand the business. That's why my channel is very important. And I can't say that's why channels like mine, because I'm the only one who's trying to have this type of conversation with folk and expose y'all to things that make you say, okay, well, maybe this really isn't for me because I need a higher level of stimulation, which gets into the perfection we're about to go into next. So you're right. It may not be for them, but the way it's marketed, it is for you, because you can make this stack of money and you can get this prestige, and you're so important because you are a notary. So these TMCs, trainer, mentor, coaches, they pump up the business to the point to where you're thinking that you're going to get this level of stimulation, admiration, and all of that your current job isn't giving you. And when you switch over to, I'm going to be a notary full time, I'm going to get the 2 printers like Grip, and I'm going to have the scanners, and I'm going to have all this, that, and the other. And then you get out there, documents late, the customer you're sitting in front of They look like this. You go there, and when you leave the house, you smell like 5 packs of cigarettes, Marlboro, Pall Malls. They got stuff. You see what I'm saying? And it's like that doesn't stimulate you because it's like, okay, I'm going into what the unknown. And that's why some people have a hard time dealing with this. So it's a problem. They say, I think I'm just tuning in and I have ADHD. Gotcha. So please make sure at the end when we finish, go back and look at the clip that I put up there. I don't know how to share the clip on YouTube and all that good stuff. And I probably have to post it on my Instagram page or something. But the whole thing is if you're looking for some type of constant stimulation from the notary business, it's not there. So what keeps me stimulated with the notary business? The main thing, and I've said this over and over for these last couple of weeks, prepping y'all for what we're talking about today, not having a W-2. That's my motivation. That's my stimulation. I recognize what this business is all about. I recognize what it cannot fulfill in my life. I'm not looking for it to fulfill every aspect of my life. The one thing that I needed to fulfill is providing me with the funds to take care of my financial obligations, to care for my family, and to keep me from being in a W-2 as much as possible. And if something came up, the market crashed, this, that, and the other, then yes, if I had to do a W-2, I would. But I'm going to work this business to the point to where hopefully I never have to go back to one. That's what my goal is. So that motivates me every single time I do a closing, every time I sit there, even though it's $50, even if it is a $30, but guess what? I'm making money and it's keeping me from being in somebody's office and hearing their crap. It keeps me from being watched every time I get up and I go to the restroom. My manager's sitting there making little notes. How long I've been gone. If my phone ring, they're trying to see who I'm talking to and all of that. I ain't got time for that. I'm tired of that. It's pretty exciting from where I'm sitting. There are never boring days. Right. So it all depends on you. So what you're looking for in this business. Now, let's get over talking about some perfection stuff, because a lot of notaries come in this business and one of the things they're trying to do is be perfect. They want the perfect signing. They want everything to go well. And that's not always the case. So let's take a quick glance at the difference between doing a job or task perfectly or versus doing it correctly. Well, good, it understood. So let me bring this up and zoom in a little bit here. I put is, but it understood what I was saying. The difference between doing a job or task perfectly versus doing it correctly comes down to standards, efficiency, and purpose. And here's the breakdown. Doing a task correctly, definition, completing the task in the way that meets the required standards, specifications, or expectations without errors. Focus, functionality, and adequacy. Time efficient, only what is necessary to fulfill the objective. Writing a report, ensuring all the sections are included, facts are accurate, and grammar is correct. Making sure it's sturdy, building a shelf, making sure it's sturdy, level, and it fits the intended purpose. The pros: saves time, energy, meets expectations without overcomplicating things, more sustainable for long-term productivity. The cons: may lack polish or extra refinement, may not impress beyond the basic requirements. So let me talk about. So you see, just going out here and doing something correctly, just correctly doing the assignment. It saves time and energy. It meets the expectations. It doesn't overcomplicate it, and it's sustainable for long-term productivity. You might start now you're probably starting to see why so many notaries fall out of this business, because they're not doing things correctly. The more incorrect you do things, the more these signing companies are going to be on your helmet. And then after a while, you're going to be like, I'm done with it. I'm done because I can't function. Nope. Because this is why You have some notaries that's spending an hour and a half doing a closing. They're not necessarily doing things correctly. They're just trying to be perfect. And sometimes in that perfection thing, you make mistakes. So let's look at the perfection side. Doing a task perfectly, going beyond correctness to achieve an ideal, flawless, or exceptionally high standard, often exceeding requirements. Focus, excellence, aesthetics, and meticulous detail. Time and effort often require significantly more work, sometimes leading to diminished returns. This is the definition of this out here with DeepSeek. Example, writing a report, writing sentences for eloquence, adding advanced formatting, and including extra research beyond what is needed, building a shell, sanding it to a mirror finish, adding decorative carvings, and ensuring absolute symmetry. The pros can result in outstanding and impressive work, may lead to personal satisfaction or recognition, useful in fields where precision is critical, aerospace, high-end craftsmanship, and that ain't us. Then it goes into saying the cons, time-consuming and inefficient for many tasks, can lead to burnout or analysis paralysis, often unnecessary. Perfection isn't always valued over practicality. Please give me your thoughts. I'm serious. There was something that I had wrote down and I'm trying to find it. I wish I'd be writing notes down. Please give me your thoughts on what I just covered. I'm serious. Give me your thoughts. What are your thoughts concerning what I just read? Now, keep in mind, I wish I could remember where I put them notes. I had some notes on something, and I cannot remember where the heck I put them at. And it was something that somebody told me, and I can't find it now. Oh, well. But this is it. So what are your thoughts? I mean, seriously, don't just sit here and listen to me. I'm serious. Give me your thoughts because it's telling you right here. You get into, oops, here it is. Oh, I always click the wrong button. Here we go. It's talking about you getting into time consuming and inefficient for many tasks. So that means you're not being efficient in getting stuff done. This is why some of you can't do multiple signings in a day because you're trying to be too perfect. You're being too time consuming with stuff. You're taking too long, and then it leads to some messed up stuff. It leads to burnout, analysis paralysis. So you're sitting here trying to overthink how to do stuff when all you got to do is stick to the basics. What are the basics of what I'm supposed to do? And then, like you said here, what she said, perfection is usually for personal satisfaction. You will still get paid for doing it correctly, which is what's expected. That's the thing. But because of, where is it? Because of this one thing right here, where the heck is it? Hold on, where is it? Because of this right here, because of these trainer mentor coaches that are talking to you and they're trying to teach you to be excellent and perfect, you get caught up into analysis paralysis. You get burnt out because you're trying to make sure that you understand each and every document so that you can answer questions that you really shouldn't be answering. And you just started 3 months ago as a notary. This is where the problem is. This is where you are struggling. So you can sit here and run through the internet begging and crying and trying to find and spending all your $800 and some dollars going to the internet to try to get the next thing that's going to help make you all this money. But if you don't know how to do things correctly, if you don't know how to be efficient in your time and understand when to move toward perfection if required, and just get the thing done. That's all they want. But you're like, well, I'm gonna impress them. Are they really impressed with whatever it is you decide to do that your trainer told you to do that they didn't ask you to do? You decided to do something that your trainer told you to do, but the people paying you didn't ask you to do it. One of the things you got to realize is that people you're paying will tell you whatever you want to hear so that they can keep you paying them. Hmm? Hmm? A guy who don't have a job, don't have a car, and you letting him stay in your place will say whatever you think he will say whatever's necessary to keep you from kicking him out. A young lady who ain't got a job, who ain't trying to get a job, will say whatever she needs to say to keep that dude paying whatever he needs to be, whatever she needs him to pay for him. When you're giving somebody money, a lot of times they will say whatever is necessary to keep the money flowing in. But when people are paying you, the signing companies and all them, guess what they do? They expect certain things to be done. They expect, and even when you're paying the trainer, you know what they expect? That credit card to clear every time. Whether you show up or not, they don't care. As long as that credit card keeps clearing, that's all I care about. So when that's it, that's all they care about. So you have to have some type of expectation for the trainers to do something for you, which they're not really doing anything for you, in my opinion. And you got to meet the expectations of the companies. And a lot of people are not doing that. Let's see what we got here. Right. Keep it simple, stupid. We will never be perfect. That's right. The issue is that they train you to do all the things you don't need to know and none of the things that are the basics. That is true. Realize when you are the product, the TMC doesn't know what they are doing. That is correct. The trainers want us to do more than what is required because it sounds good, but not necessary. I fell for it when I started in 2019. That is the truth. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. These last 4 some years I've been on YouTube. That's the main thing I've been trying to get y'all to understand. This is your business. You will never be perfect in this. I make mistakes. I messed around and forgot to sign and stamp a document. I got it corrected. I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, I forgot to fill out the Patriot Act. I said, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this last. And then I forgot and shipped the daggone thing out. When I realized it, I corrected it, paid for the shipping. Everything is good. Nobody came back and was like, hey, what? When they saw what, they knew what was going on. Oh, okay, that's what's going on. That's why we got 2 packages. Yeah, because I forgot this and I corrected it. See, that's the term when you make a mistake. The term is correct. The term isn't make it perfect. Can you do the corrections? Can you correct that sentence there? Can you correct your mathematical equations? Can you put on the correct uniform? You're a security guard and you got on the wrong uniform for a said occasion. Can you put on the correct outfit for this black tie event? It's about being correct. And to go and they still trying to get somebody. Ain't nobody going over there at no 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody. Ain't nobody going over. They paying 150, but ain't nobody going over there. I can't go anywhere because I'm already booked, but nobody's going over there. So Tracy, if you looking, First Class just sent out an order for Old Anacock over there on the Eastern Shore, 150. That's about an hour and a half drive, one direction. So plus the toll. So look in the SnapDocs and see if you got that notification for the 14th at 5 p.m. 150 is semi decent for the location, but if they put it out for more, because they started off at 100, I think, and then it started off at below 100, and then it went to 100. Now it's at 150. So I don't know if they'll go any higher than 150, but just give me a heads up, Tracy. So that's the thing. So here's the thing. The graphic that I have on here it talks about perfection is, I think it said, the worst enemy of what the heck did I say? I forgot what I called it. But I said perfection. It says perfection is the worst enemy, or the enemy of progress. When you learn to, right, self-correction is really important. When you learn to do things correctly, you move forward. If you can't correctly do the math, you don't go to the next math level. You don't correctly do the English assignments, you don't go to the next level. When you do things correctly, meet the requirement. What is the requirement? This is the requirement. Cool. But guess what? What do we have every single year when people go to college? The people who exceeded the expectations, the minimum expectation, you get into college and they can't keep up. Most people who are true millionaires and billionaires and highly successful people, they said they're typically C students because they understand the task at hand. Just get it done. While the A student, the B student is trying, or the high B student is trying to be perfect and trying to be impressive and trying to blow smoke up everybody's butt, the C student is like, what needs to get done? All right, let me make it happen. Be your expectation doesn't. Yeah, and it exceed, because not only I did this, but okay, because I did it so good, it just saved you what, $10,000 a day. Sometimes just doing things good, the way it's supposed to be done, moves you to the next level. But for a lot of people, that's not good enough. They sent it to me and I asked for more money because of the distance. Okay, no problem. Take it. If you can get about another 50 or so out of them, go for it. I'm serious. Go for it. So, what are y'all thoughts? Okay, I've been running my mouth here. I know you got some thoughts. I know you got some ideas. Okay, this isn't about trying to make anybody feel bad or all of that. This is about self-reflecting. As Tracy here said, Tracy Mitchell says, self-correcting is really important. Self-reflecting, correction, realizing, because here's the thing. Every time I do a closing, it's about doing it correctly. What do I need to do to get this thing done correctly? Why is it so important to get it done correctly? Because if I do the deed correctly, it'll get recorded and money gets released. If I don't do the deed correctly, it can't get recorded and money can't go out. So that's the thing. Oh, hold on. This is a notary. Hold on. Let me send this to them real quick. Hold on. All right. So that's the thing. So let me ask you this here. Up until now, up until the day you heard this, where were you at? Put a 1 in the chat if you felt that you was on the perfection side. Put a 2 in the chat if you feel you was on the correct side. Meaning, I'm just trying to do things correct. So if you feel you was trying, up until you heard this video tonight, whenever you hear it, if you felt that you was on the I'm gonna be a perfect notary side, put a 1 in the chat. If you feel that you was on the I'm just going to do the things correct side, put a 2 in the chat. For me, it's been put in a 2. And I know some people out there want to be honest with yourself, because you can't progress and grow if you're not honest with yourself. Okay? You have to be honest with yourself. Here's where I was at. And I believe because of my personal background and things of that nature, I knew that there was no such thing as perfection when it comes to business. It was find out what the task is and get it done correctly. We use the phrase perfect, but it's really about doing it correctly. And when I understood that way back in my 30s, that changed my whole mentality of how I approach stuff in my W-2 world, which was, what do you need me to do? Okay, I got it done. And this is where you get into that, well, we want you to look like you enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that you pay me. Well, I want you to act. I act the way I need to act when I see that paycheck going to my account. I don't need to act whatever you want me to act here. I just need to get here and do the job. That's it. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's missing. So you can continue to listen to these TMCs out here if you want, but you got to start challenging them. You got to start asking them some hard questions. Because if you don't, you're just going to be chasing your tail. You're just going to be chasing your tail. It said, focus on perfection in my W-2, but it became expected and exhausting. Correct. And that's what, I mean, that's what this is saying. It's like burn out. Teachers, preachers, people in the church trying to be perfect. It says the key difference summary: doing it correctly, doing it perfectly. Meets requirements, exceed requirements. Effort is efficient. Sometimes high, the effort is high, and sometimes excessive. Time, reasonable, often prolonged if you are being perfect. Outcome, functional and acceptable, flawless and exceptional. Best for most everyday tasks. Best for under being perfectly for high stakes or prestige work. Now the question becomes, are we doing high stakes or prestigious work in this notary business? Is that what we're doing? Or are we doing everyday tasks? Because keep in mind how we're working. Coast to Coast contacts us and says, hey, do this closing. First Class contacts us and says, what? Do this closing. Villa Title contacts us and says, what? Do this closing. All these individual companies from these different places contact us to do one thing for them. We're not their employee. They're not giving us an annual evaluation. They're not giving us raises. All they want is for us to do this one task. And you can have those one individual tasks multiple times a day. So the question is, can you just focus? Like they talked about the ADHD stuff. Can you focus to get the task done? Or do you need all this stimuli? And see, this is where I think the ADHD conversation comes in, because people are trying to create this false sense of stimulation in order just to do a basic task. The task is very basic, what we have to do, but you are trying to overstimulate yourself in order to get it done. And if you have to overstimulate yourself just to get a basic task done, something's wrong. And that goes all the way back to somebody, what they said earlier. Maybe this is not for you. See, I wanted to be perfect, but now I'm seeing things work. I want to be correct and get the work and understand the nature of the job. That is correct. I think a lot of notaries thought thought what they were trained was what to do because they didn't know any better. I agree. But if you've been in this a while, it should be clear that some of what is taught is unnecessary and in many cases incorrect. That is true. When you work directly with a title company, you start seeing many things are unnecessary. They just want the job done. That is correct. That is 1,000%, 4 billion% correct. The problem is, folk, I think a lot of folk, Tracy and Mitchell, they see it, but they don't want to believe it because they want to believe that I done paid this money for this thing. And I remember, and many of y'all can remember when I used to say all the time, you're going to execute what you spent the most money on. How much money did you spend on getting the training versus getting on a free platform and getting the order? You paid basically nothing to get on a platform, but you paid a buttload of money to so and so and so and so for this so-called notary education. And guess what? You want to be able to implement that. You want to be able to go out there and do that. You're like, I done paid all this money. I'm going to do it. It's wrong. The information they share with you is wrong. But I got to go out here and, hold on one sec. I got to go out here and do it because if I don't do it, then it's a waste of money. So you rather feel like you haven't wasted money and run the risk of doing something incorrect rather than, my gut is telling me I don't need to do all of that. Or better yet, let me ask some questions before I start spending money with these suckers to find out, is this really something that's necessary? Okay, you're saying that, but does it fit where I'm at? Well, I don't know. So the moment they tell you they don't know whether it fits what they're making you pay them for, and I feel like sometimes that's what it is, you're paying them for information that they can't even confidently say is either that's good for you or even applicable to you. Why are you still kicking it with them? That's the part that I don't understand. You wouldn't be with somebody who was abusive to you. And see, to me, what some of these TMCs is doing is abuse. It's abusing you. It's using you to get your financial resources from your pocket to theirs because you're leaving out of there with nothing. It's no different than being in a relationship with somebody who all of a sudden isolates you from your family and friends. Don't listen to Griff. I know some of them tell you that. Don't listen to Griff. You don't need to listen to that YouTube channel. He don't know what he's talking about. How much money does he make? How many directs does he have? They be looking like that. How many directs does he have? He ain't got no directs. You can't listen to nobody who don't have any directs. Okay, you got directs and you ain't making no money because your directs don't have any business. Ooh. Gotcha. But that's what's going on. But is what Griff's saying true or false? That's the question. And I'm willing to be wrong if it'll help all of us get right. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the rubber meets the road. And the question is, what are you going to do? Are you going to adjust and change your thought process and your mindset so you can move forward? Because it's really about up here. It's not end up taking all the courses, going to all the conferences. There's nothing wrong with going to conferences as long as you're going to get something that you can implement and carry out. And then let's just say you do get something that you can implement. The question is, will you implement it? Because that's the biggest problem right now is that a lot of people don't implement what they're doing because they're worried about taking the next course, worried about going to the next conference, worried about going to the next and to the next, taking the next, doing the next, taking the next. But you never stop long enough to just execute what you have already done or learned or acquired. You don't even put that into practice whatsoever. That's like getting married and you already looking at the next, your second spouse. Can you enjoy this one? You already planning for when that spouse is no longer here physically And you're like, well, okay, I got you, but oh yeah, that one right there. Oh yeah, they gonna make a nice second spouse. Okay, you know what? And that one might make a good third spouse. Oh yeah. Enjoy where you're at. And that's part of the problem, is that many of you can't enjoy where you're at in this business because you're constantly being fed that where you're currently at is not good enough. This isn't where you need to be at. You need to be up here in the $1 million club. You need to be up here in the $2 million club and the $800 million club. This is where you need to be at. And you never get to enjoy none of the process of where you were at. You never get to enjoy it. Because every time you try to settle down and put a little bit of roots, hey, we got another course. Uproot. Up here, you don't want to be down there with them. And then what makes it so bad is that they put down the people who are here where you're at. They put y'all down. They put you down. And then somebody said, well, I want to come up here with, come on. And then when you get there, the people that's up here, then they say, oh, y'all just bums. Y'all ain't doing. They're constantly making you feel bad about being where you're at. It's never good enough for them, because once you start getting comfortable and once you realize, hey, okay, I can be good. Okay, I'm good right here. You start thinking about it, you say, wait a minute. Hold up. This, I don't need to keep paying them. I don't need to keep paying them this monthly fee because I'm good. And all of these here, these are a lot of old cards. All of these cards represent y'all. And when y'all start realizing I don't need to keep paying him or her, then they get nervous. They get real nervous. And then they start coming up with some bull jive. Notaries can do this and notaries can do that. And this is where you market and this is where you go and pop up and just show up in the daggone real estate office Monday morning. You're like, how you getting here? Don't worry about it. I'm here. My trainer told me to be here for y'all. They have you doing all of this stuff. And my question is this, is no one has been able to, have you had a 10% increase in your revenue? If you're not getting a 10% increase in your revenue consistently after doing what they told you to do, it's either you the problem or what they taught you is the problem. Can anybody here tell me? And if you have, that's great. But have you really had a 10% increase doing what they say that was sustainable? Yes, you can have a burst of success, but was it sustainable? Were you able to make the adjustment while the country is going through what they're going through? So you had this boom over here with the pandemic. The pandemic is done, and now things are going back normal. Where are you at financially with this? That's the thing. Because what they taught you should be able to help you through the ups and the downs of the business cycle within the real estate market or just business in general. But all I keep seeing is somebody coming up with another course, somebody coming up with another marketing tip that is unfounded, untested. That's why I went out and tested and talked to real estate agents. Hey, where are y'all at with people coming and marketing y'all? Talking about notaries. The vast majority who I've talked to, and the vast majority that even commented on that video, it was like, that's not something we're looking at. It's not that you can do whatever you want, but is it going to give you a 10% increase consistently over what you was doing before you did it? If it will, cool. If it won't, then you got to do something else. Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Any questions about the notary business outside of what I talked about here tonight? Because I'm going to wrap this thing up and chill for the rest of the night. I had me some pizza. I had what was that? Rayo I had the little triple meat pizza, and boy, that bad boy was tight. It was good. It was good. And get me some sleep, and I got a few house inspections tomorrow, and one closing tomorrow and stuff. So go do that, and then I got some other stuff going on. And yes, I know, members, I keep forgetting. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do it tonight after the video. Send out the link for us to meet. I told you I was gonna forget, but I haven't forgot that we're gonna meet. I'm gonna do it tonight and everything. In the description, those of you who want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, if it's just to ask questions about the business or whatever the case may be, $10, 30 minutes, either face-to-face on Zoom or phone call. The link is in the description. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Got multiple time slots up there. So you just pick a time, pay your 10, and we'll hop on. So just know that when you register, I do get the email and everything, and it's on my calendar, and I will meet with you, and we will talk and answer whatever questions you want. If you want to meet with me once a week, or you want to do an hour, just pay twice, get 2 30-minute sessions, or whatever you want to do, and I'll be more than happy to meet with you. And if you need to reschedule after booking, that's not a problem at all. Said bottom line, signing service will give instructions for what they want done. I follow those to ensure correctness. Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, that's the thing, because here's what the problem is. Again, you're doing closings for multiple people who got multiple requirements. And if you can't get focused on meeting the bare minimum, what is the minimum that you have to do for every single signing company? Notarize the document properly. If you can do that, you'll win. But the problem is that you've been told to do this higher level thing. And then when you're trying to do this higher level thing and you haven't been shown how to do that on everybody's individual documents, it can get troublesome for you. It can be stressful, because now you're trying to implement this basic way, or this, what they call their standard way of doing the notary closings, the real estate closing. But when you look at, it's like, okay, what they said doesn't really apply to these documents. So what do I do? You do the bare minimum, which is make sure the documents get notarized properly after they've been signed, dated if necessary, and initialed. And if there's things that they need to fill out, you ask them, do they understand how to fill them out? If they don't, you get somebody on the phone, and then that person will guide them on how to do it. Because 3 years ago, yes, the companies are like, yeah, you just make sure they fill it out. But now they're realizing that notaries aren't really in a position to do that. So guess what they say? Thank you for calling us. We'll help them with that. Because the bottom line is what? They want to get that deal done. So do they want to rely on a notary who they don't know, who doesn't know what's going on, that could have just started 3 weeks ago? Or do they want to get in there and do their job, which is to make sure that the person who they're going into a contract with understands the legal ramifications and the legal jargon or requirements that is in there, that they put together? It's, you put the document together, title and lender, but you want some random notary to be the one to make sure that that person understands it. But you've been working on it for 4 months. Why would you put somebody in that position? You're setting them up to fail. That ain't right. And I firmly believe, and I will stand on this, that most of the TMCs out there are teaching you to basically be an employee of said signing company, title company, or lender. They're not teaching you how to operate as an independent contractor, because they're telling you to basically submit to them as if you was an employee, and not for you to operate as an independent contractor and do things in accordance with what you're supposed to do for your state laws. They want you to, to let them know that you can take on the role of the escrow officer, or this person or that person. Why do I want to take on the role of a W-2 person when I'm an independent business owner? Because guarantee you, those different little roles in the grand scheme of things, I'm making more money than them. Am I making more money than them for that one particular order? Maybe not for that. But in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the calendar year, I'm probably making more than the escrow officer. I'm probably making more than that scheduler. But you want me to go in there and say, I can take on their role and do what they're doing as a business owner for my business. And now I'm coming in as a business owner under a contract that says I'm an independent contractor, but I'm going to market myself as a W-2 person. No, we don't do that. We don't do that. That is not being a business owner at all. No, I'm not going to sit here and file stuff for you under the contract that I have as a independent notary business owner. I'm not going to be sitting here sorting stuff and running and doing extra to run stuff to the mailroom for you because you don't have enough staff in there. Then have a separate contract, independent contract for me. Once my notary part is done, now you can have me under contract to do this here admin work. 2 separate contracts, not the notary contract that you might have paid me $150, but you're not paying me enough to be your secretary when that's not the reason why I'm there. You said, thanks for the $5, Greg. Appreciate it. The TMC will help you to make the TMC money. They don't tell you that their money is made from the notary, not from their own. That is correct. That is correct. And I'm not opposed to them doing that as long as they make sure that if they can just be honest. Because there's so many people that's like, okay, well, I listened to them, but now I'm finding out what they said. Yeah, it's not really working. You hit something. Teaching to be an employee. We are notaries, not admin assistants. That is correct. Hey, Ingrid, do you think the rates will go up for good notaries after they have proven themselves? It should. It should. And that is a great question. It should go up. But from what I've heard from conversations that I've had with a few signing company staff, the issue is that there's not enough good notaries out there. There's not enough good notaries to push out the bad notaries. That's like, you know how you have some water, has, let's just say, some soapy water in here, and this is half full, about half full, and you run the water in here and you just keep running the water till the water turns clear. Well, that's what we need. We need a whole bunch of notaries to get poured into the business that's doing things correctly until the bad notaries get pushed out. You have to give the people hiring notaries no choice but to hire the good notaries. But if there aren't any good notaries, then they're going to have to take a chance on the bad notaries, which means we'll keep our pay down. Now, here's the other thing. Flush out the bad notaries. Correct. You're right. Flush out the bad notaries. Now, here's what I think should happen. And if I had a signing company, this is what I would prefer to do. This is what I would like to do. If you can prove yourself. So let's just say, personally, I would want to strive that a notary could make at least at minimum $100. Okay? $100. Once you come start doing closings for me, we'll just say the first 10, you get paid $75 a pop. After that, and if your error rate is, say, 3% or less, which means only 3, there's just say out of the orders, let's say there was only 3 orders that you had issues with, and they want big major issues and stuff like that, and we didn't have to go back and forth 5 or 6 times to get you to correct it. Then after that, your next 10, I'm gonna do it at $85. So now you're doing $85 because I want you to prove yourself to me. My contract with you will be the first 10 at $75, the second 10 at $85. And by then, you should have a good feel for how we would like things done and our clients would like things done. and you should be more familiar with the documents and the process. So now, after the 10, so after 20 of them, we're going to pay you 100. Now, if you can't get through the first 10 without jacking stuff up, why would I take you to the next 10? I'd be like, hey, thank you for your service. Appreciate you. Not using you no more. It's that simple. Get you to the next level. Because sometimes people, when they start getting a little extra money, they start getting a little brand new. Oh, you getting brand new on me? Can't use you no more. And the same thing, once I get you at the $100 mark, oh, now you think you can have a 20% error rate? Nah, we're not having that. I'm not kicking you back down to 75. You're just not going to be used anymore. Give people an incentive to do right. And if you're not going to do it, see, if you're not willing to work your way up, then I don't need you as a part of the notaries that I'm going to use. That's what I would try to do. Now, I know there still might be some gaps and some stuff in there, but I would at least try that. Try something. So if you are a great notary, if you're doing what you need to do, I'm gonna have you over here. And you're going to get paid accordingly, because guess what? That's what happens in life. The better you do, the better you get paid. The problem with that is, and not even the problem with it, the issue is that a lot of companies, the signing companies, they're not thinking like that. They're just concerned about what they get. They're not concerned about what you get. So if you have more signing company owners that had more of a care and concern for the notary, I think it could work. And if these notaries aren't doing good and you can't handle just coming in and getting the job done at 75, then why would I want you to be paid 85? Why would I trust you at $100 level when you can't do $75 level work? That's life. That's the way business is. And if you can do that, give me your thoughts about that, y'all. Give me your thoughts about that payment plan, that payment scale. What do y'all think would be wrong with it? What do you think is good with it? Because we know there's notaries that's coming in here and they don't, and like somebody said, this might not be for them. And if somebody can prove to me that they can be disciplined, learn what to do this, that, and the other, all right, great. Let me move you to the next level. That's what I see. That's what I believe can happen. And it's an incentive. Where's the incentive if you coming out the gate getting 125, 150? And then you say that you can't. And see, here's the thing that I will also have to do as a signing company owner. What's your true availability? Do you work a regular job, and do you have 2-3 jobs, and do you have other businesses? Because my concern would be, even at the $100 level, if there's a problem and you can't go back and fix it because you got to go to your day job, you get what I'm saying? Now, here's where I think the importance of knowing, and I'm throwing this out here so that maybe a signing company owner can take this and run with it. Maybe you give me credit for it. But here's the thing. I would do something like this. I got my notaries in here. If there's notaries that I know I can trust to do trailing docs for me, and there was a simple mistake, it wasn't something really egregious, and it might be something as simple as, hey, you forgot to have them date such and such. But I understand that you're working. You're one of my top notaries. You're working during the day. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay Sharon. I'm going to have Sharon go out and take that document, meet with you, get that document, or go back and have her print the thing out and go get the signature, because she ain't got to notarize it. So instead of me stressing you out, now it's going to be a strike against you, but instead of me stressing you out, when I know that you got little man and TT, How about, hey, Sharon, can you go and here's the document and go over to so and so and get this done? And then all I would ask is that, Tracy, you call the client and let them know that, hey, we need you to re-sign something or sign the date such and such. And we're going to have one of our notaries, our runners, come over and get it taken care of for you. So if it doesn't need to be notarized, why not do that? See, to me, that's thinking smart. That is thinking smart. And then I just pay them, say, $25 to go do it. And then hopefully, Tracy, you don't keep doing that. You don't keep making that mistake. That's working together instead of stressing out. Because as a signing company owner, you got to recognize you got people who are doing this business and they might do it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon after they get off work. They made a simple mistake, nothing egregious, a simple mistake. But now you, the signing company and the title company, are on their helmet about you got to go fix it. Well, does that document need to be notarized? Well, no. Okay, then. Then can we then get somebody, you know, and I'll then take it out of my pay. And here's what happened with me one time. It was a situation that came up, and it was something that I missed, or it was either I missed it or nobody knew that they had to do it. One of the two. I think it was they didn't know they had to sign something or do something. So when they called me, I said, look, I'm not able to get it done, but I have another notary that can go do it. Are y'all okay with that? I said, I vouch for them and they can go do this for you and get it done right now. They was like, let me talk to the title. Yeah, let's work with it. And I said, don't worry about it. I'll pay them myself. You just get me, I'm going to get the stuff to them. I'm going to tell them what they need to do. And they said, no problem. And they got it done and I paid them for doing it. That's thinking outside the box. The problem is that a lot of people are just right here. They're scared to think outside the box. They're scared to expand stuff because nobody will you think about it, the way we're running this notary business, everybody is talking about doing what? Being the same thing, get paid the same, dress the same, have the same stuff in your notary bag. Everybody execute acknowledgments and juras the same way. All of that, everybody do things the same way. There's no differentiation. Take the same people's training, take his training, take her training, go to this conference, go to that conference. Now rinse and repeat and do it again and again and again. And the moment you try to do something different, ooh, don't you dare. How dare you? Don't you take that order for less than $150. You're going to hurt the business. How dare you, bad notary? I mean, this is what we got going on. So then when somebody has an idea, somebody can do something a little different. I guarantee you I guarantee you there's other signing company owners. If I thought of it, I know there's others who thought of it. But because the bigger signing company owners, no, don't do that. No, because they don't want to stretch themselves. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They like where they're at. Don't think that the signing company owners aren't doing it to each other, because remember, they used to be notaries doing it to each other. Y'all think it's just with us. I guarantee you there's title companies that could probably see, here's a way we can do things more efficiently. But the other title companies say, stop that. Same thing with the lenders. There's always somebody that sees, here's how we can make things better. And then there's always this group of whoever that says, stop doing that. Stop thinking. Stop being progressive. Stop thinking you can make things better without our approval. That's what we got going on. It's too much of this going on to even sit here. Well, let me tell you the 15 ways you can make some money as a notary. And I'm going to tell you all the different avenues that you can go out here and market. And I'm going to tell you where every place you can go and get all this money and get your 6 figures a year. You got to get this straight. If you can't get this straight, you ain't going to be making 6 nothing. Nothing whatsoever. It says, I've done trailing dots because a notary refused to do it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, these are, I believe they're great ideas also. Yeah, that's fair game. Yeah. But it starts with the notaries doing their job correctly. What is our job? Verify identity. If your state requires it, and pretty much for mortgages, please do it. Record them in your logbook so you see who they are. They are who they say they are. You recorded them. You swore them in, gave them the oath. Whether you do it every single time that they have, that's between you and whoever. Or you do it one time, that's between you and whoever, because ain't nobody there, none of us watching you do it. So if you do it one time and you say that's good for the whole session, or multiple each individual time, that's between you, and you. Okay, you ain't got to get online bragging about it and talking about it. You just confuse people when you do that, because some states don't require you to do it for every single jurat or affidavit. But you verified identity, logbook, you swear them in. You make sure they sign, date if need be, initial if need be, and then you fill out the notarial certificate. Can you do that efficiently and effectively each and every time? And without trying to sell them your Amway products or your Mary Kay products, without trying to sell them your business credit products? Can you do that and just stick to the job at hand? And stop trying to sell them all this other stuff, and stop trying to get some kind of get everybody you meet into a CMR or a CRM, customer relationship management system, so you can blast them all day and all night with all these emails and stuff. Stop trying to follow every client that you meet for loan closings on Instagram so you can blast them with a whole bunch of your Canva stuff. There's a time and a place for things. And be in the moment of where you're at. Respect the moment of where you're at. And respect the people who are paying you to be in that moment. Most of you aren't doing that. And because you won't respect where you're at, you're not respecting who's paying you. Therefore, you can't stay focused long enough to do this thing. And you get bored, and then you say, well, I'm going to be a trainer. I'm going to train all of y'all how to do this. And then these lame people who are training you make you a lame notary. So why would I sit here and increase the pay as a signing company owner if I see nothing but lameness? I have to just take, and in this case, my risk is 45% of the notaries I deal with, they're not going to do it right. So why would I increase the pay? Because all I'm going to have to do is just turn around and pay somebody else. We get it right. That puts them in a position to where they have confidence and say, you know what? No problem. I'll pay you $150. But until we get it right, there's never going to be a way that we can, because if they say, well, we're just going to get somebody who will do it for $85. Okay, but if everybody being excellent and doing things correctly and reducing the errors down to no more than say 1 or 2%, you pay for excellence. You pay to get things done correctly the first time. So it's going to cost you something now. Because you don't want to use me, okay, you're going to use Sharon, but guess what? Sharon is just as good as me. Fred is just as good as me. Then you can operate from a standpoint of, in my business, I want $150. We're not colluding. It's just that I feel that I'm doing stuff so great and so on point, it requires a $150 pay. But you can't require that when you don't know what you're doing and you can't do anything right. That's the thing. Yeah, upselling Amway and all of that kind of stuff. So let me get out of here, y'all. I was supposed to stop at an hour, but 15 more minutes don't hurt nobody. So I hope y'all got the message. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for those who watch the replay. If you decide to donate a super thanks, you hit the little heart with the $sign in it. I really appreciate it. This business is a great business. And I just want people to start doing it correctly. And everything else will fall in line. That's really it. Just do it correctly. That's it. Just do this correctly. And you'll be fine. All right. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.